Hare Krishna, welcome all to the Śrī Laghu Bhāgavatāmrta reading. We'll continue from where we left last time. Mukham karoti vacharam, pangum langhete girim, yat kripatam bande, shigurum deen tarinam, parmananda madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram, Hari Om Tatsat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we were reading from the book, section titled Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmi. So for the continuity, we'll again repeat the verse where we left. Having the chance overheard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reciting this verse, Rupa Goswami composed another verse to describe the meaning of the first verse. Priyaha so yam Krishnaha saha chari Kurukshetra militas tathaham sa radha tad idam ubhayoh sangama sukham tathapya antah khelan madhura murali panchama jushe manome kalindi pulina vipinaya svrihati. My dear friend, I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Yamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindavan. Writing the verse on a palm leaf, Rupa Goswami slipped it between the thatches in his roof and went to the ocean to bathe. Lord Chaitanya arrived, and seeing the palm leaf among the thatches, read it and became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. When Rupa Goswami returned, the Lord slapped him mildly in love and spoke, "My heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way?" Saying this, he firmly embraced Rupa Goswami. Later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed Rupa's verse to Swarup Damodar, who concluded that Rupa Goswami could understand the Lord's heart only by the Lord's causeless mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed that in Prayag he had bestowed on Rupa his transcendental potency. The Lord then entrusted Rupa Goswami to Swarup Damodar for further instruction in Bhakti Ras. On another day, Lord Chaitanya glorified Rupa Goswami's poetry in a gathering of devotees. Ramanand Rai, an expert in Sanskrit poetry and dramaturgy, was struck with wonder at Rupa Goswami's poetic genius, and like Swarup Damodar, he concluded that Rupa's ability was a sign of his empowerment by Lord Chaitanya. Rupa Goswami stayed in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's company until the Dola Yatra festival in March. Then Lord Chaitanya sent him to Vrindavan with the mission to establish the service of Lord Krishna, preach that service by writing books, and excavate the lost holy places. This was the second last meeting between Śrīla Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From Nilachal, Rupa Goswami again visited Bengal. There he distributed the remainder of his assets, and being fully relieved from all worldly obligations, travelled to Vrindavan, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had requested him. As we know, Nilachal is the traditional name of Puri. In Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatan were fully immersed in the mood of separation, remembering Krishna and his eternal devotees. The brothers gave up all material indulgences, wandered about the Holy Land with no fixed residence, and almost completely forgot to eat and sleep, sometimes staying together and sometimes moving separately. They searched constantly for the forgotten places of Krishna's pastimes and wrote books on Krishna consciousness, guided away by Srimad Bhagavatam and other devotional scriptures. Śrīla Rupa Goswami was instrumental in discovering the deities of Sri Govinda Dev and Srimati Vrinda Devi. Sri Govinda himself came to Rupa Goswami in the form of Rajvasi and told him to search for his deity on Gomatila in the spot where, as the Brajvasi told it, a cow used to come every day and moisten the ground with her milk. With these directions and help of locals, Rupa Goswami eventually unearthed a beautiful deity, the one he had read descriptions of in the scriptures. Eventually, a beautiful 7-story red stone temple was constructed for Sri Govind Dev under the patronage of the famous Emperor Akbar, and with the sponsorship of Jaipur's King Man Singh. Unfortunately, in the early 18th century, this magnificent temple was partially destroyed by the invader Aurangzeb, and the deity of Govind Dev was taken to Jaipur for his safety. Rupa Goswami discovered a deity of Srimati Vrinda Devi on the banks of Brahmakund, not far from Goma Tila. After being directed in a dream of Vrinda Devi herself, this deity is now established at the Radha Govind temple in Kamyavan. Rupa Goswami had also personally carved the deity of Sri Damodar for Srila Jiva Goswami, who became Rupa Goswami's disciple in Vrindavan. Jiva Goswami established a temple of Sri Damodar where Rupa Goswami had his bhajan kutir and later his samadhi. Rupa Goswami's literary contribution to the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is monumental. He was the author of more than 16 books, a total of about 100,000 verses. The following is a brief description of his books. Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, that is the ocean of the nectarian Bhakti Rasa, arguably the most important of Rupa Goswami's works in its 4 divisions compared to the 4 parts of the ocean. The book comprehensively and systematically describes the process of bhakti and its various stages and analyzes the 12 rasas in relation to Krishna. Ujjwala Neelmani, the sapphire of Ujjwala Rasa, an addendum to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This book delves into the Shringar Ras, describing in detail its various facets, including its object, Krishna. Subject, Krishna's beloved such as Radha, and the roles of their various companions, messengers, sakhis, etc. in their amorous pastimes in Vraja. Following the pattern of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the book also analyzes the essential components of Shringar Ras such as Uddipana, Anubhav, etc. Virgad Madhav, that is Clever Madhav, an 8-act play about Sri Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Some of the pastimes described are Krishna's flute playing and its effects, the mutual attraction between Radha and Krishna prior to their first meeting, Pururag and Radha's writing of a love letter to Krishna, Radha and Krishna's meetings and stealing of Krishna's flute, Krishna's appeasement of Radha's anger, pastimes of the divine couple in autumn, and Krishna's dressing himself as a deity of Gauri, that is Durga, in order to meet Radha. Lalit Madhav, that is the gentle Madhav. It's a 10-act play about Lord Krishna's pastimes outside of Vraja and in Dwarka. The drama starts with the description of the mysterious birth of 2 sisters, Radha and Chandravali, how Krishna disguised himself as priest of the sun god, and the killing of Shankachud. The play goes on to describe the Sakhi's agony of separation from Krishna after he left for Mathura and what befell them after his departure. Krishna's watching a drama in Mathura about his own Vraja pastimes, Krishna's regaining of Chandravali, Lalita and other gopis in the form of queens, Krishna's longing for Radha and his meeting her in Navavrindavan in Dwarka, and the marriage of Radha and Krishna. Rupa Goswami originally planned to compile a drama that contained the incidents in both the Vidgat Madhav and the Lalit Madhav, but Satyabhama appeared to him in a dream and ordered him to separate the pastimes in 2 separate works. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later confirmed this order. Danakeli Kaumudi, that is the moonlight on the toll pastime, a short 1-act play about the toll collecting pastime which happened at Govardhan Hill. Radha and her Sakhis were on their way to Govindakund when Krishna and his friends blocked their way and demanded a ridiculously high toll For the ghee the gopis carried, an animated dispute ensued, full of mutual challenges, accusations, word jugglery, and inconspicuous loving exchanges between Radha and Krishna, culminating in their joyful union. Natak Chandrika, that is the moonlight on Natak. Rupa Goswami textbook on dramaturgy, which defines and explains all aspects of playwriting. The text is illustrated with examples taken from the author's Lalit Madhav. Next is Tavamala, a garland of hymns, a large compilation of ashtaks, songs, poems and graphical verses, that is Chitra Kavitvani, written by Rupa Goswami and compiled by Jiva Goswami. Next, Padyavali, or the anthology of poetic verses, an anthology of verses about Lord Krishna and devotional service, composed by about 125 authors. The verses are grouped under a wide range of topics. Then Samanya Virudavali Lakshana, a general definition of the Virudavali poetry, the only book that defines the Virudavali style of Sanskrit poetry. Virudavali is a complex poetic style involving various types of rhythmical phrasing, abundant alliteration, special word choices, and a particular compositional structure. To show the theory in practice, Rupa Goswami wrote Govinda Virudavali, Virudavali in praise of Govinda, which describes the pastimes of Lord Govinda, beginning from his birth. This piece is included in the Stvamala. Mathura Mahatmya, the glory of Mathura, a collection of verses from the Purans glorifying the sacred region of Mathura, that is the Vrajadham. And then it's Hamsaduta, the swan messenger, a heart-wrenching description of Radha's feeling of separation after Krishna's departure from Mathura. For Mathura, Radha is on the verge of death and Lalita goes to the Yamuna to fetch water for her. There Lalita sees a swan, to which she gives a message for Krishna. In a loving anger, Lalita tells Krishna of Radha's condition and begs Krishna to return and save Radha's life. Uddhav Sandesh, that is the message of Uddhav. In this poem, Krishna sends Uddhav to Vrindavan to solace the gopis, especially Radha. Both Hamsaduta and Uddhav Sandesh are written in the mood of the famous Meghdut of Kalidas. Both contain descriptions of various places in Vraja, Radha Krishna, Ganodesha Deepika, indications illuminating the entourage of Radha Krishna. In its two parts, Brihat and Laghu, the book describes the attributes, that is the age, appearance, color, dress, color, parentage, etc. of Krishna, Radha and their associates. Krishna Abhishek, the bathing of Krishna, a manual for worshipping and particularly bathing the deity of Lord Krishna on Janmashtami. Prayukta Khyata Chandrika, moonlight on commonly used verbs. A small lexical work useful to writers, the book is a selection of commonly used verbal roots with their meanings drawn from larger work. The Adbhuta Khyata Chandrika by Bhatta Mal. Nikunja Rahasyastava, glorification of the secret pastimes in the groves, a poem describing the very confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the forest groves of Vrindavan. So now we will start the introduction of this book. This edition of Śrīla Rupa Gosvami's Laghu Bhāgavatāmrta is divided into two sections, as is the original text Krishnamrita, dealing with Krishna and his expansions, and Bhaktamrita, dealing with its most prominent devotees. The translator Gopi Pranadhana Das comments at text 1.2.7 on the general style used in this work. Śrīla Rupa Goswami presents the Laghu Bhāgavatāmrta in the typically concise style of philosophical shastras, short definitions and statements of fact, with the support of quotations from authoritative scriptures, which are then often followed by the author's own karikas or explanatory verses. The Krishnamrita section consists of 5 chapters. After offering obeisances and Defining the methodology he used for his work, Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmi states that his purpose is to demonstrate that Krishna is the most worshipable Supreme Personality of Godhead. 1.1.10. To do so, he describes the hierarchy of the Lord's diverse forms and distinguishes the original Sri Krishna from his parts or plenary expansions. Largely on the basis of the qualities and the potencies each form displays, he illustrates clearly why Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.26 depicts the Lord's incarnation as limitless. The commentary informs us that unlike Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3, the Laghu Bhāgavatāmrta 1.3.2 lists these avatars in the order of their appearance. The text also describes three Paravastha forms of Lord Nrsimha, Rama, Krishna, who display increasing degrees of supreme opulence, culminating in the complete manifestation of opulence in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such statements corroborate those of another text central to Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, Sri Bhāgavatāmrta, which declares that Sri Krishna is the ultimate form, the original of all, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, brought this Brahma Samhita back to Bengal from South India, indicating that these conclusions were to be found then even in the region of Kanyakumari, far from the birthplace of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So we will continue reading from here onwards next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai.